My parents warned me not to enter our basement at night. I just discovered the horrifying reason why. The old Victorian house on Elm Street had been in the family for generations. It was a place of wonder and mystery for 8-year-old Emma, with its creaky stairs and hidden nooks. But there was one place that was strictly off-limits: the basement. Emma's parents had warned her time and again not to venture down into the dimly lit cellar, especially at night. "It's not safe, sweetie," her mother would say, her eyes stern but kind. "You don't want to go down there alone in the dark." But Emma was a curious child, and the prohibition only seemed to fuel her desire to explore. She would lie awake at night, listening to the creaks and groans of the old house, wondering what secrets lay hidden beneath her feet. One stormy night, Emma couldn't resist the temptation anymore. She threw off her covers and crept out of her bedroom, her heart racing with excitement. The basement door loomed before her, its wooden panels like a mouth waiting to swallow her whole. She slowly made her way downstairs, her ears straining to pick up any sound. The air grew colder with each step, and she felt a shiver run down her spine as she reached the bottom. The basement was dark, the only light coming from a faint glow emanating from the old phone on the wall. As she approached the phone, Emma saw a figure huddled in the corner, its back to her. The figure was tall and imposing, with a balding head and a peculiar shape to its ears. Emma's heart skipped a beat as the figure slowly turned to face her. It was John Pork, the infamous figure from the creepy brain rot stories her friends would tell at school. Emma had always thought he was just a myth, a boogeyman used to scare kids into behaving. But now, here he was, his pig-like face twisted into a grotesque grin. John Pork was making phone calls, his thick fingers punching numbers into the dial with an eerie deliberation. Emma watched, transfixed with horror, as he spoke into the receiver in a low, menacing tone. As she stood there, frozen in terror, John Pork's eyes locked onto hers. Emma felt a chill run down her spine, and suddenly she was slammed with a wave of dark, unending despair. She tried to turn and run, but her legs were rooted to the spot. And then, just as suddenly, John Pork vanished. The phone slammed down and the basement was silent once more. Emma stumbled back upstairs, her heart racing with fear. But it was too late. Emma had seen John Pork, and now she was cursed. From that night on, she began to receive strange, disturbing phone calls. The voice on the other end was always John Pork's, speaking in that low, menacing tone. At first, the calls came at night, when Emma was trying to sleep. But soon, they began to arrive at all hours, interrupting her meals, her playtime, and even her classes. Emma would answer, and John Pork would be there, his voice dripping with malevolence, speaking words that made no sense, but filled her with dread. As the years went by, Emma grew up, but the calls never stopped. She changed her number, her address, even her name, but John Pork always found her. The curse followed her, haunting her every waking moment. Emma became withdrawn and isolated, afraid to answer the phone or venture out into public. She knew that John Pork was out there, waiting for her, his pig-like face twisted into a perpetual grin. And in the dead of night, when the house was quiet and the storm raged outside, Emma would hear the creaky stairs groaning beneath her feet. She'd creep downstairs, her heart pounding, and see John Pork waiting for her, the phone pressed to his ear, his eyes glinting with malevolence. Emma was trapped in a living nightmare, forever cursed by the horror that lurked in the basement. She knew that she would never be free from John Pork's grasp, that she would always be haunted by the mysterious figure who made those dreadful, endless calls.